PR Connections Radio presents
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli, and we are going to be doing our Vegas Hockey Hub recap 2024-2025, where we break down every single game of the Vegas Golden Knights season. Now, we just got back from T-Mobile Arena as we watched the Vegas Golden Knights take on the St. Louis Blues, and this was a fascinating game. There was a lot of twists and turns, many positives for your Vegas Golden Knights, a little negatives, and we'll cover that during the show. But overall, your Vegas Golden Knights pick up the victory over St. Louis with the score of 4-3. And your Vegas Golden Knights offensively, amazing. The first line for the Vegas Golden Knights, exceptional. And when it comes to the defense, we saw some improvement and some progression from the previous game against Colorado, which was our main gripe in game one, was the lack of defense despite the high-powered offense that they had in game one, which was an 8-4 victory over Colorado. We're going to cover all of this and everything involved when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights taking on the St. Louis Blues. Just happened at T-Mobile Arena. An important victory for your Vegas Golden Knights, starting out 2-0 on the season. So 2-0 to begin the year for your Vegas Golden Knights. And yeah, for the first, second, and third year in a row, the Vegas Golden Knights have an excellent, perfect record entering Game 3 against the Anaheim Ducks on Sunday. And by the way, for anybody who's wondering when it comes to our schedule, do not worry. I understand that this is going to be uploaded on Saturday at 8 a.m. We record the shows late at night immediately after the game. Then we have to upload it at 8 a.m. the next morning for anyone who understands the schedule. Now, when it comes to the Anaheim Ducks game on Sunday, here's a disclaimer. We're going to be uploading that at 8 a.m. on Monday. So the game ends on Sunday. We'll record it immediately afterwards, and then we will upload it to the PR Connections YouTube channel and all social media content on 8 a.m. on Monday. Now, getting over on that, for the pre-game notes for your Vegas Golden Knights, some interesting roster moves and a waiver claim that is welcomed back as, man, oh man, Raphael Lavoie, he has had a very interesting week indeed for his career. On Sunday, he gets put on waivers by the Edmonton Oilers. On Monday, he gets claimed by the Vegas Golden Knights. On Tuesday, he gets put back on waivers by Vegas. Wednesday, he gets claimed by the Edmonton Oilers. On Thursday, he gets put back on waivers by Edmonton. And then, before this game kicked off, during the morning skate, it was announced by Elliot Friedman. I have to always give credit. I always will and always will. When it comes to Elliot Friedman, the news came out during morning skate on Friday that Raphael Lavoie was claimed once again by the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, because he was the only player and only team that claimed Raphael Lavoie from the Edmonton Oilers this time, here is a quick reminder. He does not have to get put on waivers once again, as since he was the only team that put in a claim for him was your Vegas Golden Knights, he will then be optioned and sent straight down to Henderson. So Raphael Lavoie, his waiver scenario, his carousel, his roller coaster will be done, as he is now going to be joining the Henderson Silver Knights out in the AHL. Very similar to Yuri Patera and what he had to put up with just a week ago when he got claimed once again by Vancouver from Boston, but he was immediately assigned to Abbotsford out there in the AHL because of his waiver status and the fact that had very similar was going on. Now, for a player like his stature, former second-round pick, 24 years old, he'll bring some added offense to the AHL. This is somebody who scored 20 or more goals in this past season in Bakersfield, had over 50 points last year in Bakersfield in Edmonton. So I really consider him as somebody who could be a bottom six forward for Vegas if injuries start to accumulate. But in reality, I really see him being a top six forward, a goal scorer for Henderson, someone very similar to last season where Gregory Diancinco was claimed by Vegas from Florida. He was mostly in the AHL and then had a cup of coffee and a few game stints in Vegas last year. And then in terms of the starting lineup, we'll go over the entire starting lineup in just a second. But it was very interesting that Cole Schwinn is in for the Vegas Golden Knights. The rookie is going to be making his debut for the Vegas Golden Knights in this matchup. And then former first-round pick Brendan Brisson. This is someone who was in the lineup on opening night. He is then taken out, and he'll be a healthy scratch in Game 2. And Cole Schwinn will be in there for the game. So for your Vegas Golden Knights, that is the only major lineup change. And like I said, we'll go over the roster and starting lineup in just a quick second. And in net for your Vegas Golden Knights, Adin Hill. Now, Adin Hill, he had a kind of slow start in Colorado. The first period, he did look stiff a little bit. But as the game was going and as the flow of the game and the momentum was going, Adin Hill started to look very well in the second and third period. And in this game in particular, he was in control for a lot of it. He really was able to kind of build up that confidence. And even though it is a close scoring game on paper, when you were there at T-Mobile Arena, this was a Vegas Golden Knights team that was really in control for majority of the first period and for majority of the second period. Third period was kind of a wash. It was kind of even half and half between St. Louis and Vegas in terms of momentum. But overall, this is a Vegas Golden Knights team that, thanks to Adin Hill and thanks to the defense that they had in front of them, they did a relatively better job in terms of helping out Adin Hill than they did in Game 1 against Colorado, where it took a while for them to really get the ball rolling. So with Adin Hill being in net for your Vegas Golden Knights, let's get into the starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights taking on the St. Louis Blues. And this is a starting lineup that, like I said, only one main roster move, but it did change up the lines just a little bit. So getting over on the first line, the line that has, by the way, explosive goal scoring and are leading, by the way, one among the league leaders when it comes to Barbashev and Eichel in terms of points in the entire NHL. So line 1, Barbashev, Eichel, and Stone. Forward line 2, a line that has not yet to score a goal, by the way, the first two games, Pavel Dorofeyev, Tomas Hertl, and Alexander Holtz. Then the forward line 3, because Cole Schwinn is in and because Brendan Brisson is out, they had to promote Brett Howden from the fourth line into the third line. So Victor Olofsson, Nick Waugh, and Brett Howden would be on that line. And then the fourth and final line, Tanner Pearson, Cole Schwinn, and Keegan Kolesar. So Pearson and Kolesar stayed the same, and then Cole was added in to make his NHL debut with the Vegas Golden Knights out there. And then for the defensive pairings, Nick Hague and Noah Hanifin, Brayden McNabb, Zach Whitecloud, Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore. So yeah, really no surprise here when it comes to the defensive pairings. We understood what this was going to be heading into the season, but no, there has not been any swap out with Brayden McNabb or Zach Whitecloud. I know there's some people who are wondering if Ben Hutton will ever get some playing time. I'd say at some point this season when injuries happen, maybe Kaden Korczak the same way, Lucas Cormier, top prospect in the system down in Henderson, he might get a shot too, but it all depends on injuries. But overall, defensive pairing-wise, the same from Game 1. Pietrangelo, Theodore, Hanifin, Hague, McNabb, Whitecloud. And that was your defense. And then, like I mentioned before, Adin Hill in net for your Vegas Golden Knights. Out there at T-Mobile Arena, And I will mention that this fan base, they were loud, and it was a very even, by the way. I think about 75-25 when it comes to St. Louis. There was some good St. Louis fans. Now, the section that I was in, they actually had a row ahead of me, a family of St. Louis Blues fans. And I do want to quickly acknowledge this just because it's not part of the game, but it is in a way. I have to give a credit to the 4 family members that were St. Louis Blues fans. One was wearing a very nice throwback Brett Hull jersey, and they were, nice. They were, trash talking a little bit. Vegas Golden Knights fans were trash talking a little bit. But overall, fan experience wise, I have to give credit to that family of 4 that were St. Louis Blues fans. I had a really good time talking to them. Knew the game, very, very supportive of their St. Louis Blues. So just quickly wanted to pivot and, by the way, acknowledge them for T-Mobile Arena. Now, this first part, talking about the St. Louis Blues, to start out the game, the first goal scored was not by the Vegas Golden Knights, but the St. Louis Blues. As the St. Louis Blues, about 5 minutes into the first period, Pavel Buchnevich with his second goal of the season, assisted by Jordan Kyrou and Philip Broberg. And when it comes to Pavel Buchnevich, there was a lot of reports around the trade deadline time this past year that the Vegas Golden Knights were going to try to get Pavel Buchnevich. And I can understand why Vegas would have been interested in him. He's a really good goal scorer, someone that's really a good addition to the top 6 out there in St. Louis. Could have been a good middle 6 forward here in Vegas. But hey, the past is the past. There's nothing you could do there. But yeah, Pavel Buchnevich scored that first goal in the first period. And then in the second period, on the power play, when they were down by 2 goals, Pavel Buchnevich with his third and on the power play, assisted by Jordan Kyrou, his second assist of the game, and Justin Falk out there for St. Louis. So yeah, Pavel Buchnevich was really a player of the game for St. Louis, if we're going to acknowledge that. He did a real solid job there. Jordan Kyrou, one of their young up-and-coming guys, someone who has really been there for the last couple of years, but someone who has shown steady progression throughout his career and someone who really has been built up as one of their core members out there in St. Louis. I like what we've seen from him. And overall, in the penalty circle, and when it comes to going to the penalty box for St. Louis, they had only 2. And that was Jordan Kyrou with a hooking penalty against Mark Stone that happened in the first period. And the Vegas Golden Knights, unfortunately, did not score on the power play there. And then later in the second period, about halfway into it, there was a slashing penalty against Zach Bolduc. And that was a second power play opportunity that Vegas just did not capitalize on. So, unfortunately, an aspect of the game that I do have to kind of give it down to is their power play unit. This was a power play unit that in game 1 looked a lot better, but just did not connect. Now, in the second period on that power play, Alexander Holtz had an opportunity, but just whiffed. All right. Alexander Holtz, he was on the left side, could have been, he was trying to do a slap shot instead of a wrist shot, and he just whiffed on the opportunity. That could have been a power play goal there. Also, in the beginning of the third period, there was a Keegan Kolesar, pretty much almost empty net situation, but a St. Louis Blues player just got his stick just right in there at the right time. So Kolesar did not score a goal for Vegas in that scenario. And speaking of scenarios, if there is any line who is better than Vegas's first, well, it doesn't say it on the stat sheet. Because 2 games in, the Vegas Golden Knights first line, we're talking about the first defensive pairing and the first forward line, they have combined for 7 of the first 12 goals the Vegas Golden Knights have had. The insane production that they have done this year. Jack Eichel, halfway into the first period, after having a 4-assist night in game 1, would pick up his first goal of the season, assisted by his line mates in Ivan Barbashev and Mark Stone. And really good to see Jack Eichel get on the goal score and to finally have his name added to the goal sheet the 2024-2025 season. Let's expect a lot of more goals to come from Jack Eichel this year. This is going to be a real interesting first line because also in the first period, when Vegas is tied at 1-1, about 2 minutes left, Mark Stone passes it to Eichel. Eichel dishes it over to Barbashev, and he connects, and it is a 2-1 game, and his third goal in 2 games for Ivan Barbashev. Before the season started, if you would have told me that Ivan Barbashev would be having the most goals on the first line after the first 2 games, I wouldn't have believed you, okay? I would say that you are taking crazy pills if you had told me that Ivan Barbashev would have 3 goals, Mark Stone would have 2, and Jack Eichel would only have 1. However, when you do mention that Jack Eichel has 6 points on the year, it makes up for that 1 goal that he has had so far in 2 games. Like I said, he's averaging a 3-point performance per night at this point. So after the Vegas Golden Knights are done in the first period, and they are up by 2 goals, they enter the second period, and I will say congratulations to Cole Schwinn, as he would have his first career point with a nice assist to Shea Theodore to make it a 3-1 game for your Vegas Golden Knights. And anytime somebody can score their first goal, their first assist, their first point, if you're someone who's more of a fighter and you have your first fight in the NHL, anytime you have a first in the NHL, it is an accomplishment and a round of applause. So, yeah, for Cole Schwinn, first career point in the NHL, and him being a rookie for the Vegas Golden Knights in his Vegas Golden Knights debut. Congratulations to Cole on that achievement. So, the Vegas Golden Knights being up 3-2 at the end of the second period. And after those close chances by Alexander Holtz, by King Kolazar, it seemed like it would be a 1-point game for a while until Nicholas Waugh. About 8 minutes left in the third period. Shea Theodore, Alex Pietrangelo, they are passing the puck around, trying to get it open to the wide open man. And then they would find Nicholas Waugh to score his first goal of the season and to make it a 4-2 game for Vegas. Now, for Shea Theodore, this would be a 2-point game for him. And considering he had a 3-point performance on opening night, 5 points in the first 2 games for Shea Theodore. And then Alex Pietrangelo, him having an assist in this game. He had a point in the last game. So 2 points already for Alex Pietrangelo. And for Nick Waugh, first goal of the season. Now, speaking of Pietrangelo and speaking of Theodore, this play annoyed me. And I have to mention this for everyone watching all around the world. The Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, they are in the neutral zone, and Pietrangelo tries to shoot the puck over to Theodore. There is a miscommunication between the two, and Robert Thomas from the St. Louis Blues shot out like he was Brett Hall in his prime. He grabs the puck, he skates down the ice, he dekes, he makes a little fake, and he dangles Aiden Hill, and he scores for the St. Louis Blues, and he made it a 4-3 game in the few minutes left in the third period. And overall, when it comes to what happened there, I have to put a lot of blame on Shea Theodore because that lack of communication and really what happened there is just that you had 2 guys who are trying to shoot the puck in the neutral zone, trying to go from right to left, and there was just a disagreement on where the puck was going. And for Robert Thomas and his hockey IQ and awareness, he stole the puck and he scored for St. Louis. Now, the neutral zone has been a problem for Vegas. In fact, there's been multiple passes in these first 2 games that have just been intercepted in the neutral zone. And I think the passing does need to be fixed just a little bit for your Vegas Golden Knights. But doesn't matter. Your Vegas Golden Knights pick up the victory and they go to 2-0 on the season for your Vegas Golden Knights. And player of the game. Now, in game 1, Ivan Barbashev was your player of the game with a 4-point night. And for game 2, it has to go to Jack Eichel 1 goal, 1 assist, and he was a playmaker all night long on the power play, on the penalty kill. Every shift he was a part of, he was a major factor and a guy you had to watch out for. So this is Vegas Hockey Hub recap, breaking down the St. Louis Blues and Vegas Golden Knights game. We will be doing the same for the Anaheim Ducks. That will be uploaded at 8 a.m. on Monday. And until next time, continue watching hockey and go Knights.